Hi there, welcome to Stellar Wyckoff Technical Analysis session. If you're new to my sessions, here are the key takeaways that you can expect from the session. So let's start with the weekly chart of Stellar. We're looking at the, I would say, third consecutive week of, downward movement. I know it's a bit controversial for this week because we are still at the beginning of the week. Why I say it's downward, because it looks to me this long wick from above that selling really triggers my thinking over here that the downtrend is still going to continue, and that it's still going to head towards the sign of weakness, somewhere between the white line and the yellow key level of 2 cents 45. Alright, the white line here is the top edge of the long-term playground zone, which about 70-80% of the time, Stellar is trading within this zone. So the big picture remains 25% towards the north, challenging the green key level and maybe the light blue key level to start with. But the tendency or the trend is still bound by this downward channel box, or the air hockey table. Sometimes I describe it as this white line over here, the ceiling of the long-term playground zone, seems to be providing like intermediate support for now. So if we go to the daily, we see what's actually going on. The white line was actually challenged for 4 consecutive days. Until Friday, last Friday, there was a little bit more of buying from that point. And now we have this price action, but the rejection from the level of the sign of weakness previously back in mid-October is still in effect. So if I draw a line over here, you see where yesterday or even today the price is being rejected from. Alright. Okay, so that's where it is. So you see why these 2 days, why these 2 candlesticks are getting rejection from that particular level. You see all these lows or the closes and open are basically around this level. Much like what happened over here as well. Between October 31st to November 2nd, right? We're back to that point. The question here is, however, in other altcoin charts, I noticed one thing. It's actually from Uniswap that it triggers me to think that the purple scenario may be the case for the altcoins. If they really follow what what's happening to Uniswap. So initially I was asking or discussing with you in previous session that in Stellar, are these red tags, right, along this period, are those just LPSYs and this is just a sign of weakness, much like what happened at a lower point, not that it's really at an accumulation. Alright, there was an accumulation here and also a mini distribution. We were discussing, if this is the red scenario, we probably haven't seen the selling climax yet, while the one happened on November 4th may be the selling climax. Alright, however, if it's the purple, like I said, when I cross-referenced Uniswap chart when it pumped just 2 days ago, this on October 10th looks like it's actually the selling climax, in that chart, and this is almost exactly the same as what happened to Uniswap. If that's the case, then we already have our second test and subsequent tests. One more over here, and we have got our spring just a few days back, and the price is actually bouncing off from the spring. That's what's happening right now. And this resistance line that I've drawn in previous session, what happened on Friday? It basically broke above this resistance. The subsequent 2 days found support above this line because it has turned to become a support line. And now, yesterday and today, both were challenging this resistance line that I just drawn when we got into this daily chart. If this is the case, now that we don't need this resistance, instead I'll turn it into an uptrend support line so we can visualize what's actually going on. Even with the decline or drop of today, this is the uptrend support line now. So the current price is actually staying above this support line. If this continues to trade upwards, there are 2 time points that you can immediately see. One triangle here and another triangle over here. Of course, there's a center line of the downtrend as well. But let's make it simple. Or if you can, I can also talk about the date as well. So there are 3 dates over here. 2 more important ones. One is November 17th, about 1 week from now. And then another one November 22nd. This one in the middle is somewhere on the 20th. So anytime within these 2 weeks, the price actions are going to confirm the trend. Either it's going to continue up, meaning breaking above the first resistance, and then eventually when we get closer to November 21st, 22nd, this green key level, about 33 cents, is another breakout opportunity, meaning not only it's going to go above the center line of the box, once again trading at the upper half of the downtrend, which since October 10th this has not happened. So that's one positive sign. The second thing is, if it continues to go up instead of going sideways, if it continues to go straight to challenge the ceiling of this downtrend by December 3rd, sometime near the end of this month, there's another chance. This is even more significant because this time it's potentially breaking outside of this downtrend that started back in July. So we started this downtrend almost 4 months ago, and now there is a chance for it to come to challenge it if this uptrend continues. This yellow dashed line is very key, because for the next, I don't know how many days over there, around 21 days, if it continues to trade along this uptrend, breaking above these intermediate resistance and the green key level as I mentioned, you see there are multiple resistance over there. If all this doesn't matter to this uptrend or this climb, if there's sufficient buy-in, then that's the biggest chance over here that within November, Stellar is going to finally break this downtrend. Not that it's easy. It may reach this sign of strength level and then come back down again. Because when we look at the weekly, if it goes past the green, that's what we're talking about, right? So let's set this line to just this interval and below. So if it goes above the green and go outside of the box, the next key level is going to challenge is the 41 cent light blue key level. Eventually the dark blue 47 cents 50. Alright, so those 2 levels, if we look at here, that means it's going back to the second test level set back in July. Alright, this can happen, but if that's the case, or if it goes even higher to challenge this level where the buying climax was back in December 2024, that would potentially set an upthrust for Stellar, which isn't bad, but it's not something that's easy. We need 2 things to happen together. One is the positivity towards Stellar. Maybe it has something going to be announced or coming out near the end of the year. And at the same time, the macro environment and the crypto industry together, the sentiment has to support us in order for that to happen. Otherwise, it may just be a rebound to the green key level and then resumes its downtrend towards the sign of weakness. Okay, so while there is a chance for Stellar to break towards the upside and challenge this ending this downtrend, there's still a risk that this is not over yet. So let me remove this percentage because it is not required anymore. It has shown us the dip. Alright, so those two scenarios are pretty interesting. So if that's really the selling climax, what we're going through now is just the automatic rally. Okay, and after automatic rally, it will come down for another test. So if it breaks this support line, this yellow line over here, then the red scenario may be the actual case. If it doesn't, if it goes back up, then it's more likely it's the purple scenario. Alright, so thanks for your support and thanks for joining me. See you in the next session.